Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge. My name is Howard Pinsky, Senior XD Evangelist here at Adobe, and welcome to day number 7. I think I got that right, Gus? Yeah, Gus is on it. GusBot's in the house, Paco's in the house. It's a good day. We're almost at day number 9. We're almost there, almost at Friday. And big good morning and hello to everyone joining us in chat on Behance if you're not there yet. Behance.net/live/Adobe Live. They're changing things up a little bit. You may have noticed. Big good morning to Andy and Jason and Emma and Michael and Anna. Paco is in the chat. And Nathaniel and Michael again. Michael Crouchy, one of our awesome guests, who I'm gonna bring it up because I bring it up all the time. Spilled water on our lovely desk. So there you go. If you are joining us, yeah, there you go, Nathaniel. Durham, Connecticut. Yeah, let us know where you're tuning in from. We're streaming live today from lovely San Francisco, and we have a great week packed for you, full of UI and UX goodness. I'm kicking things off at 8:30 in the morning, and then we've got some great UI and UX experts coming up. Here's the schedule here. Here we go. Load schedule. Yeah, so I'm kicking things off with the Adobe XD Daily Creative Challenge at 8:30. Erica is here with Melody at 9. I'm back with John at 11. And then Camille is back with Melody at 1 o'clock to close out the day, all designing some really cool stuff. So if you're into UI and UX, and I would assume you are, definitely stick around. We've got some awesome stuff throughout the entire day. Nigeria is in the house. Irvine, California. Awesome. Faroe Islands. Don't know where that is, but it sounds very exotic. Maybe I'll go there one day. Cool. Someone likes the new Behance look. Nice. Alrighty, so what do we have planned for today? Let me hop over to my screen. This is the Daily Creative Challenge landing page, behance.net/Daily Creative Challenge. Even though we're almost at the end of this lovely journey, at least for this time, hit the big blue button at the top. That way you're notified when we release new challenges every single morning, except the weekends at 8 o'clock. You're gonna receive a brand new challenge. And then at 8:30 in the morning, you're gonna be joining me live to kick things off. And then you're gonna use Adobe XD to design and prototype whatever that challenge is, and we'll get into today's challenge in a second. Then you have until March 29th, in just 2 days, to submit all of your entries. But, you know, again, as I've mentioned every day, and I love mentioning this, it's not a competition, there's no prizes. We do this to help you build up skills, maybe you learn something new, maybe you've never used Adobe XD before. So these are definitely there for you to, you know, build up a portfolio, attract new clients, and have a little bit of fun. Grab XD for free if you haven't yet, and then join us on Slack. If I hop over here to Slack, here's our Slack channel, 16,940 people. We're almost at 17,000. So here's today's challenge that was announced by Sam in Slack. You can ask questions, you can chat, or you can get design feedback. And if you are looking for feedback, definitely let us know exactly what feedback you're looking for. We have some great mentors, including Zach and Chris and Peter, and Marissa's in there once in a while. So definitely let us know. Once you receive feedback, turn around and give some feedback to somebody else. Like this user here who posted this from, I believe, yesterday's challenge. Let me make this a little bit larger so you can see it. And he's basically taking you through the entire workflow of adding a product to a cart, in this case, Good Boy Treats. And look at those cute banners at the top. Isn't that super cute? So he's taking you through this entire application workflow, opening up the chat widget using an overlay, adding similar items to the cart, which is really cool, and then removing an item from the cart. And he's using auto animate to transition between those two artboards. And then subscribe and save, which we covered yesterday. So this was super cool. So definitely post your stuff in Slack. Also post it on Behance and make sure to use that keyword XD Daily Challenge so we can search it. And there's the Slack channel right there, bit.ly/XD Slack. Oh, there's Kelson. I'm terrible with names. I apologize, but he's in the chat. And that was super cool. So great. Thank you for submitting that on Slack. And let me check out 2 more things before we move on to today's challenge. This one is from Emerald, who is definitely continuing to build up this really beautiful looking prototype that he's working on. This is a shopping cart. It looks very playful, looks very fun. Got this section on the right for shipping details. I thought it's coming out really nice. And then we have Angela's pug face. This thing at the top, this laptop, is super cool. And then you got the subscribe and save section. Same thing over here. This one is really nice. It's definitely in your face, but it's not too in your face. And it conveys all the information that you possibly need to subscribe and save, shows you the discount. I thought this is turning out really cool. And who doesn't love something called pug face? And the final thing I want to show you isn't a challenge entry, but it is Andrew Shorten's Twitter account. I've shown this before, but he's starting to tweet some things. Go through Andrew's Twitter account. He's doing some very cryptic stuff about some XD19. So we're on XD17, but XD19 is going to be big. And you can kind of, we release an update every month. So there's a good chance that's probably somewhere in May. And I'll let you figure out what some of this stuff means, but symbols is an obvious. And I don't know what these things mean. Do you know what these mean? You might, check out Andrew's account. He's gonna be tweeting some more stuff going forward. Alrighty, so today we are tackling the rate experience. You can read all this stuff here, but basically after a purchase flow has been complete, we want a user to be able to rate the process and also tell us what might be needed in a mobile app. So let's hop over to Adobe XD to get things going. So this is where we left off yesterday. We designed this incredible looking, I don't even know what to call this cat, but it's majestic maybe. This was the subscribe and save pop-up. A little bit large, so some of you definitely have taken that and shrunken it down a little bit. But today we're gonna be basically, after the checkout is complete, we're gonna create a rate experience. So let me go ahead and duplicate this artboard over to the right. And I'm actually just going to delete all this information because we don't need it. We just need the structure of this page. Now at the top, we're gonna have a little bit of a banner to kind of get people excited, to get people, let them know what's going on at this phase. So I'm just going to draw out a rectangle across my document right about here. Perfect, it's gonna snap into place. I don't need a border, but I'll keep it there for now just so I can see that there is an object up there. I'm gonna hop over to Finder, and I have another amazing image of a cat. Even though, I'm a dog person, these cats you just can't pass up. So I'm gonna drag this directly into Adobe XD. It's gonna highlight in blue. I can pop it anywhere I want, and then double click to position this incredibly cool, I wish I was as cool as this cat. I'm gonna pop him or her right there. I can turn off the border. And now we need some text on this banner to, let people know what's going on. So I'm gonna write, "You did it." This will be the header. I'll make this black. There we go. Great. Move it somewhere right around here, and then underneath it, we need some additional text. Obviously, we don't want it this big, and we probably don't want it as bold, so I'll go for medium. And now that your order is on the way, let us know how we did. So this is basically telling users that, there's a little bit of a survey down below. And then we also want to give some incentive. I'm gonna make this a little bit smaller and drop the opacity a touch. Perfect. And I'll just make sure everything's centered inside of this banner. Great. Now right below, we want some additional text to basically give some incentive to the users. So this will be complete this short survey. Wow. Survey to be and be entered to win a $100 gift card. Because very few people, I've noticed, enter surveys if there's no incentive, right? Unless they're very angry about the product, they typically don't enter these things. So we want to give users a little bit of an incentive to actually do whatever comes below. Perfect. All right, so now below, we're gonna actually start putting in some questions. We're gonna ask about the checkout experience. We're gonna ask about the subscribe and save experience. Then we wanna know a little bit what maybe the most important feature on a mobile app might be. So Again, I'll just duplicate this text downwards, and this will be how would you rate the checkout experience? And I will bump up the opacity back up to 100, and I may want to maybe go semi-bold, so these questions have a little bit more weight than some of the other text on this page. And I do want to center it, and I can just very quickly center it by pressing this button right here, and if I hover over it, it's align center horizontal. And Chris Cannon is saying he loves surveys. I don't believe him for some reason. There we go, so I'm gonna pop that one there. Now there's a few ways we can serve up this information. We could use a star system, we can use a smiley face system. There's a lot we can do, and if you do wanna just go for stars, Marissa did provide in this template these stars right here. And I'll just very quick, we're not gonna go for stars, but I'm gonna very quickly show you how that can be done. If you just have one star, which you can grab pretty much anywhere. I'm gonna paste the star, make it a little bit larger. And then what you can do is just use a repeat grid. So I'm gonna Command or Control R and just drag out 5 additional stars. Or if you want 4.5 stars, you can just do that, right? And then you can go in and update, let's say you just wanted the opacity a little bit lower. And at the moment, you cannot override individual elements other than text within a repeat grid. That might be possible soon. So in the meantime, if you want, let's say 4 out of 5 stars, you can duplicate this repeat grid, drag this over, and then change this to, let's say, a yellow, right? So that's a possibility. If you're into the star system, you can do that. I'm gonna switch things up a little bit, delete these stars, and we're gonna go for a slider. And then we can use the drag trigger to make that actually animate. So, I'm gonna drink when you say repeat grids. I say repeat grids way too much because I love repeat grids. So I'm gonna drag out a line across my document, make the border a little bit thicker, and then I'm gonna round out the corners of these lines, the caps basically, by pressing this button right here, which is a round cap. And you'll notice, so right now, it's probably difficult to notice, but when I press on it and I zoom in, we have these lovely rounded caps. It just gives it a little bit of a fun flair. So that'll be the border in the background. I'm gonna decrease the opacity a little bit. And now I kind of want it to start at the middle mark, right? So I'm gonna duplicate this border, Command or Control D, and just move this over to about the middle, somewhere right about there. And I do want it to have maybe a little bit of a color. So I'm gonna use my eyedropper and just sample the blue and pump the opacity back up to 100%. So this is kind of the middle mark. And I do want in the middle, so that we can actually initiate the drag trigger, a little bit of a circle. So I'm just gonna drag out a circle here, pop it right about there. And again, I'm gonna use the eyedropper to select that blue. The border might be white, so there's a little bit of a border in the center. Perfect. And now we also need to tell users what each side represents. Even though most people know that the left would be 0 and the right would be 10, you never know, right? So I'm gonna use my text tool. This will be 0. Doesn't have to be that large. Make it a little bit smaller. And we'll go medium. Pop that somewhere right about there. And drop the opacity. And move this over here, and this will be 10. So it's a rating system 1 to 10. With a lovely slider in the middle. Great. All right, so we have our first slider complete. I'm gonna make sure to group this, Command or Control G, and in my layers panel, just name this slider. Great. How are we all feeling about the slider? I know there's a lot of different ways we can do this. Star system might work, sliders could work. Happy faces, maybe paws for cats or dogs. That could be fun. All right, so this one's complete. We may wanna actually group all of this. And this will be checkout question, maybe. There we go. And what's really cool, just kind of thinking ahead to XD19, is that once the symbols update is available, you'll be able to create a symbol from this slider, which you can do now, but you'll also be able to override it. You'll be able to change colors on individual instances. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming with that symbols update, and I can't wait to use all of this stuff in our daily challenges. But in the meantime, you know, no overrides for us. So I'm gonna duplicate this down. This will be, how would you rate the subscribe and save experience? And I do want to make sure to center this. I should have probably center justified it, but I'll just do that. There we go. I'll leave that the same. And then down below, we want to do something a little bit different. We want to ask users about the mobile app that might be coming up. So in that case, I'm going to just duplicate this downwards, but I'm going to get rid of the slider. And in this case, we want to use radio buttons. So I'm going to grab my ellipse tool and simply draw out a little radio button right here. Doesn't have to be anything fancy, just a little circle and a very subtle border. Maybe increase the size just a little bit. There we go, perfect. And then we need some text. Oh, actually I probably should change this so we know what we're doing. Zoom out. All right, what feature is most important to you in a mobile app? Great, all right. Now here, let's see, what features are important in a mobile app? Easy checkout probably. Probably doesn't have to be left or center justified. There we go. And for this one, now that we have one, I'm going to actually drop the weight to about medium. Maybe make it a touch smaller. Maybe go for regular. What does regular look like? Yeah, it looks pretty good. Move this about here. Let's go for 16 pixels. All right, and let me know, dark mode. Let me know in the chat what features are most important in a mobile app for a pet store. I'm going to select both of these, and in this case, because text can be overridden in a repeat grid, I'm going to turn this into a repeat grid and just drag this downwards. Let's go for 4 features for now. Let's say profile, sure, why not? Manage account. And I will fix this cutoff in a second. And any other suggestions? Nope, not yet. Boop to purchase, yes! Boop to... I like that, Paco. All right, so I'm gonna fix this repeat grid, just drag this out, make this a little bit larger. Bam, all right. So now we have some options within our profile, or our survey. And I want one more maybe at the bottom down here. How cute are our cats? English is weird, isn't it? RR, there we go. All right. And this one, there's really no question. We're just gonna set it at 10, and won't be able to drag that one. Perfect. Oh, scan product. I like that one. Let me replace this. Scan product. Good suggestion. All right. Make sure this lines up. Perfect. All right. So now that we have the survey pretty much complete, we also need a button. And we have a button over here, so I'm gonna actually select this button, turn it into a symbol. I probably should have done this at the beginning, but I'm gonna do that now. Hop into my assets panel. This will be button. That way I can basically just drag this symbol out anywhere on any of my other artboards and pop it here. And I can change the text on this symbol to submit survey. Great. And if you're unfamiliar with symbols, even though they are going to be changing a little bit, basically this will allow me, if I wanted to change the structure of this symbol across my entire document, maybe my creative director doesn't like the rounded corners, or maybe someone in the chat doesn't like the rounded corners, I can hop into the symbol, change the corners on just one of them, like this, and it's going to change it on all of them, which is fantastic. But I like the rounded corners, so I'm going to stick with it. Alrighty, so now that we have our survey more or less complete, I do want to make sure that this page is not super long, so I'm going to just drag this up, and I can do that by double-clicking on the artboard, like that. There we go. And we now want to create a few additional states to show what this might look like when a drag trigger has taken place. And I did see someone mention that the drag may not work very well on mobile. This is a desktop experience first, so if we do a mobile experience, we can definitely tweak it, but the drag should work as well on mobile. I'm gonna duplicate this over to the right, and we'll go into here, drag this over. We'll say it's about a 9-ish. Drag this, perfect. This will be state 2. So I'm gonna hop into prototype mode. I'm gonna select the little dot within this slider. It's important because if you were to select just this entire group that contains all elements to the slider, XD will take a look and realize that the group itself did not move in the second state, so the drag may not work. So you want to try to select an element that actually has moved in the next artboard. So I'm going to make sure to select the dot, drag the little handle over to the right. We have our little pop-up that comes up. I'm going to select drag instead of tap, and auto animate is automatically going to be chosen as the option. Don't have to worry about easing for drag triggers, doesn't really affect it. And if I press play up here at the top right, I can very easily drag the slider across and set it into place. And now I can simply duplicate this. Let me work on this one down here. Maybe I hate the subscribe and save experience. Maybe it was terrible because of that massive image that popped up in my face. So I'll drag that one down that way. Great. Duplicate this, and for this one, maybe we want to say boop to purchase is by far the most important feature in a mobile app. Thank you, Paco, for that suggestion. Make this little circle. Actually, you know what? We'll probably make it the color of the blue, our lovely blue. There we go. Move this into place. Great. Everything is looking good. So now we can finish our prototyping, dive in here, grab our circle, drag this over to the next artboard. And then on, oh, did I miss one? I did. This circle over here, and it's going to retain all those properties. So drag is going to be the default trigger at this point. This one I don't need. Now for boop to purchase, I can drag this over, and in this case we don't want drag, we actually want a tap trigger. We don't have to worry too much about auto animate because nothing's really going to be animating in this case. So I'm going to go for a very simple transition with no animation, so it's going to just very quickly cut. Don't have to worry about scroll position. Actually, you know what, you probably might have to. So I'm going to turn that on because we might scroll down and see some of the other options. And let's see how this is looking. Press play. I can scroll down. I can drag this one over, and I can drag this one over to the left, and then boop to purchase. And there we go. And of course, this one down here at the bottom, we're not going to let users actually touch that one because cats, they're a 10. And then finally, we can do one more screen if you wanted to submit the survey. I'm going to duplicate this over. And basically on this screen, I'm going to delete all of this and just write something at the top. Thanks for completing the survey. You have, you know what, I'll do it on the second line. Great, and I'll make sure to center this and pop it somewhere right about there. It's not super pretty, but all of you will probably be a lot more creative than I am. So now in prototype mode, I can select this button, drag it over to this artboard, tap, transition, no animation, and should be good. And for this one, you probably don't want to preserve the scrolling, so I'm gonna turn preserve scrolling off. That way it goes back to the top of the page when I do press on the button. So one more time, play. We can scroll down, see the magical survey. We can drag over to the right to rate the checkout experience somewhere around a 9. We can drag over to the left to rate the subscribe and save experience. We can press on boop to purchase because that is by far the most important feature in a mobile app. And then submit survey. It takes us back to the top of the page. Thanks for completing the survey. You have now been entered to win a $100 gift card. So that will do it for today. Again, the challenge was to rate experience. And really we're focusing, you can take it in many different ways, but we're focusing on the experience after a purchase has been made. So if the company wants to get some information on the checkout experience, the subscribe and save experience, what's needed in a mobile app, that's kind of what we're focusing on. But I expect all of you to get super creative with some of this stuff and have fun with it. Whether it's a drag trigger, whether it's stars, pause, smiley faces, whatever. So that will just about do it for today. Day number 7, I'll be back tomorrow morning with day number 8. I'll also be back at 11 o'clock with John, but stick around in just a few minutes. We've got Melody and Erica coming up, designing some really cool stuff using Adobe XD. I'll see you all very soon.